Hello and welcome to Testimonies with T. I'm your host, Tia Costello, and today I'm here with Paige.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Honestly, I'm so excited. So talk to me. Tell me who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Paige. I'm 27, from London. I'm one of those people that are born and raised in London. There's not many nowadays, like when you go around, it's like, oh, I'm from here and I've moved to London, but born and raised in London. I am a worship pastor, so I work for a church, full-time ministry, leading worship, and I love that I get to do that. Born in a Christian home, raised Christian. I love everything creative, and I love just like being able to write songs, lead worship, fashion, and all that other stuff. Like, I'm such a creative person.
Amazing. Oh, we love it. You're just immersed in the creative
industry. Yeah, literally. If you're going to like look creative up in the dictionary, I'm going to be there. It's just me.
I love that. I was even just saying before that I'm just like living for the outfit. It's just so simple, just so great.
I love it.
Okay, well, let's take it back to young Paige.
Yeah.
So you obviously just mentioned that you were raised in a Christian home.
Yeah.
What did life look like as a childhood?
Yeah. So my parents separated when I was young. So it was just really most of the time me and my mum, but my mum would always take me to church. My mum is just like, was I think that pivotal person in my life that has always been just like there, because that, like, I always would see my dad, but my mum was just like a strong Christian woman that you would like see. And I just grew up going to church, and I think I have this one memory of like myself, we would go to church and I saw like somebody up on stage like playing keys, and I was like to my mum, oh, I want to be able to do that. So I got piano lessons from when I was like 7 years old.
Wow.
I've always been singing. And then there was one point in church where we were in this smaller church where a pastor was really musical, and he got to like develop me in like those skills and stuff. And I got like from a young age to lead worship in church. I remember being like 10 years old playing keys and singing and leading worship in church. And those environments, literally because of my mum, like, and growing up in that household, and she would never not let me do anything that was like creative. Like, I went to dance lessons, I went to drama, I went to music. And it was just all that thing of like God really being on my life in that creativity in those spaces, and like growing up in church and people really seeing those things, and I'm seeing what they had spoke over me now in my life, and like just being able to sing over people and like really lead into the presence of God, and those things being spoke over me when I was like 10 years old, and I had no clue about what it was. But yeah, I owe it all to my mum and her just bringing me to church every single week.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was it like then going to church every single week? Obviously you got quite stuck in from such a young age.
Yeah.
Did that, so you weren't just going.
Yeah.
But at that time, did you have a relationship with God? Like, did you understand what that meant?
Yeah. I think there was like a relationship in the sense of I always, and still to this day, like feel God move and feel his spirit the most when I'm like worshipping him through music and or like listening to worship music. I think still at that age I didn't really understand like a lot of it, but as I grew up I began to like understand what it was, and like then develop and know that, oh, this is God, and like really then take those bits of like worship and those feelings and what that meant into like then biblical stuff. So yeah, growing up in church, I just kind of knew that you kind of had that head knowledge and a little bit of the heart knowledge, but it took me a while and then to go on my own journey to then develop and really know what God is and know who God is, and know that he is good.
Obviously that always will take time anyway, being so young. So you're also developing anyway. Yeah. But it's just, I think, like, to hear that so young you were actually like serving is such a beautiful
it's crazy
thing.
Yeah.
And not what you hear all the time, because a lot of the time when you're young you're being told to just go to church, you're doing this thing, but to, I think, be so submerged in the church life, do you feel like that really shaped to where we are today?
Oh yeah, 100%. Definitely shaped who I was, and understanding that like servant heart, and I love being able to serve in any sort of like capacity. That's my like favorite thing to do, and I think it's just because I started off so young doing that.
It was like your foundation.
And like that's what I love to do. I'll absolutely, like, one of those things, like I never say no. Like I always like take every opportunity, and I will take everything, and I will like serve in his kingdom because like I've been given that gift to be able to do that, and that's what I can do. So it's definitely like shaped who I am.
Wow, that's so beautiful. So obviously you had a great relationship with your mom. Did you have siblings?
Yes, I have siblings a lot. So I'm the youngest out of all my siblings, and they are not full siblings, half siblings, but I have a brother on my mum's side who I'm like the closest to out of all my siblings. But it's really weird because I would say that we had totally different upbringings. Like I was growing up going to church like every week, whereas it wasn't the same with like my brother. So it's like a whole different thing, because I would say in our household, me and my mum are the ones that go consistently to church every single week.
Yeah. And that's so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you were like brought up in the same, but it looked so different.
Yeah.
And that's what's so interesting. Again, it goes back to like everyone's testimony is so individual.
Yeah.
Because you can have the same like upbringing, but it looks so different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what about school? What did school look like?
Oh gosh, it was like a horrible time for me as a person. So growing up, I would say that I was really, really shy, quite a shy person growing up. And I was also somebody who is like wanting to fit in and wanting to please people. It was just so my nature of that's who I was. And I guess it comes a little bit from like just growing up in church and being so servant-hearted, but it meant that I put everybody else above myself, and I just wanted to fit in and just wanted to like be around. So I think I really struggled a lot sometimes in schools with friendships particularly. And then like growing up as well in secondary school and like finding your place and trying to fit in, and then just like being able to have those friendships that feel like I'm not putting in all the work and then not getting everything, like not getting the same thing that I put in return. Like and then I would often, younger me would just be like, oh, that's okay, and I would let that go, and I would still put in all the work and not receive the same things back. Especially like you said, because you're such a server anyway, you want to do those things and like put in the work and maybe arrange things and whatever, but and emotionally as well, it's all servitude in a different way. But it's funny how sometimes like our gifts can also be our detriment. 100%. And I think that's something that was detrimental to me, and I've had to grow in a lot in like as I've gotten older. Wow. So then in school then, did you find it was really hard to have any sort of community? Was it quite isolating? I would definitely say I had friends and I had community. I think everything, some were deeper level like community, but I think most felt a lot like surface level. And not as deep as I would have hoped for like friendships and stuff to be. But I was always that person that I wasn't by myself. I had people around and I had friends around, but it was just to the level of what was it.
Which makes so much sense. And I feel like sometimes it's like you're not alone, so you've still got company, but it's like, but is this actually doing anything for my soul?
Definitely.
So you're then in school and you're being creative, right? So are you doing all like that at school as well?
I literally for like GCSEs and A-levels done like dance, drama and music, like everything creative that I could possibly do. And I was so lucky to be able to go to a school where I could do that for like A-level and GCSE.
Amazing.
I did everything creative that I could.
Wow. So you knew from the young that this creative was something that you wanted to pursue.
I've always loved music. I've been singing since like I couldn't even give you an age, and then playing piano when I was 7, and then I've been writing songs since I was little as well, like in creative writing and stuff like that.
Wow. And then what did church community look like for you?
I think once I started to get to like secondary school age, I think I found church community really, really hard. I struggled because I just felt like I was just going to church, and we were going to this smaller church by that time, and there wasn't really many people my age. And then in that time of like your life, like from secondary school up into uni and stuff, that is like a really pivotal time for you to have really good friendships, and especially Christ-centered friendships. And I felt like I didn't really have friendships in church. I had friendships that were like from school and stuff, and some of them would be Christian, but when I went to church, it was just probably me who was my age, and like there was loads of people that were younger than me or older than me. But I was probably the only person like in that teen years going through all the stuff.
So it didn't feel like then you were again, maybe being filled up in the way that you needed to be during that time. Yeah. So was it then getting harder to go to church?
Yeah, I still went to church, and I was serving and I was like singing and doing all that stuff, but it felt like a routine rather than a relationship.
Yeah.
And there were moments still that did feel like, a relationship with God, but most of it, a majority of it, probably felt like routine.
Yeah. And how long did that go on for?
That probably went on until I was probably like 17 or 16.
Right.
And me and my friend, we decided to start, we went to school together, we grew up together, and we decided that we were going to go to church like on our own. So we just started going to a church that we knew had a lot of young people going to it. And we just started going there every week, and we built community, we built friendships. And I think that was a really pivotal time in my life because it meant that I had people that were my age, and now me going to church was off my own back, and it wasn't because my mum was going and we went together.
Yeah.
I was going to church because I needed to build my relationship with God, and I needed to build this community that it talks about is so important. Community is like one of the biggest things you can have in your relationship with God. So yeah, that was a probably pivotal moment for me.
Wow. What was it like also, like you'd obviously grown up going to church with your mum. What was it like kind of like fleeing the nest? Was it quite like a scary thing? Yeah,
it was really scary at first as well, because it was quite a big church, and I had never been really in a big church like that before. We were like, didn't know anybody, and luckily I had my friend that went with me, and we went together, but it was a little overwhelming at first, but we just kept consistent, like joined the team straight away, which helped loads, like joined Connect group, and we really found our community, which I'm like still friends with these people today, even though we still don't go to the same church anymore. Like we hang out all the time. I've been to some of their weddings, I've been to like seeing them have babies and stuff like that, so it's so important.
And it's also like you could have stayed comfortable and just like stayed in the church that you knew, but like even just like that act of faith and moving in that to like be like, no, I want to seek you in a place where I feel
100%
beautiful. So then you're obviously going to this new church, and community is really flooding through. Would you say that's when you actually started to get like a deeper relationship?
I would say during that time got a deeper relationship with God. I also then got baptized just before I went to uni. But then I think I went to uni, and it kind of like I fell into the same trap because then I didn't have a church there. I didn't feel like I knew people and had that community. And I think community had played such a big role in like my
living in the world.
Yeah. So when I went to uni, it kind of was like I went with all this expectation of how well I had just built community, and I felt really engaged in church and stuff like that, and then I went to uni and I didn't have that anymore again, so it felt like I kind of retracted again from that relationship that I was building with God.
So let's just jump back for 1 second then. So you went to uni. What made you go to uni? What did you study?
I went to uni because it just felt like one of those things that you had to do. And I think it was still so early in my life, I didn't know, like at 18 you don't know what you want to do, what you want to like.
For sure.
And I didn't have a clue. So I was like, oh, uni is the next step. That's what I need to do. So that's what I need to go to that. So I went to uni. I studied popular music.
What was the actual course like?
Yeah, it was really good. I struggled with uni a lot because it's one of those things where I think I'm so creative that when it comes down to things that don't like tap into that side of my brain, it becomes really hard for me. And I enjoyed the stuff that was really practical, which was like songwriting and performing and even like just learning about new like bits of like music and stuff. But when it came down to like some of the essays, I really struggled. Or like we had a course where we had to talk about like music as a business, and those things really didn't like trigger trigger my brain in the right way. So I found those really hard, and at the end of it I was like, oh, I did a couple of years and I realized this is not for me. I had a really tough time, but I didn't stay in uni. I didn't like finish complete the years, and I think that was really tough for me to even admit for a long time, or like even to come to do, because it's just growing up. I've always been the person that I just want to always do the right thing, and I always want to finish what I've started, and I always want, like, that was the thing, and I just want to make people proud and stuff. But sometimes things are just like, it's not what you have to do, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that as well, because it's also like, and it's funny because you went there based on doing something, because I feel like I've got to do this thing, and actually it didn't work out where you needed to be.
No,
you know. But we thank God that you were able to, like, that he was able to bring you out of that, and bring you back to where you need to be. You know? So obviously during that time, you're going through a lot. And you said about community and not being able to have a church there and stuff. So that was really affecting, I guess, all areas of your life, right? Yeah, definitely. And then, so you plucked the courage to then leave uni. How many years in was that?
I think it was like 2.5.
Okay.
Yes.
So was it going to be a 3-year course?
Yeah.
So you were so close to finishing as well.
But I was like failing a lot of stuff.
Okay,
and
you was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So then you left, and then what did you do?
Yeah, so I think around the time when I left was like lockdown time. So we started like going into lockdown, and so it was like one of those things where it's like I didn't really have to do anything at that time anyway. Yeah, I wasn't really doing much. I think I had just, or maybe just before, I can't remember the timeline or something, I started working in a school, or maybe just after lockdown when it just started to open up again, around those times. And I was nannying for a while as well, and just like working in a school like as a TA all around those times. But during lockdown is probably where I had the biggest like encounter with God again. And that time in my life was so pivotal for like my relationship with God and where I am today. And all of those things that happened, it's like it didn't matter, because God's like, I needed you to go through that, and I needed you to be right here to be able to hear me and to be able to listen to me, to what the plans I have for you.
Obviously finishing uni and then also going to a lockdown was probably quite tough, right? Yeah. Did you feel like you were quite low at that time? Yeah,
definitely. I was definitely isolating a lot. I wasn't really like speaking to people and stuff. And I remember that my connect group from the church that I was going to before uni, like I was still like part of the stuff, and they were doing weekly connect groups online, and I wasn't really going to any of them. I wasn't doing anything. But then I can't remember what the turnaround point was, but I just started to be active again and go, and that really transformed like everything, because I was like really just isolating. I wasn't speaking to anybody. I wasn't talking, like, apart from my mum, or like I wasn't talking to anybody, and I wasn't,
honestly, and I feel like isolation is where the enemy festers. In darkness.
100%.
Yeah. Wow. So then it's lockdown now, and then what is it that happened that really transformed that relationship?
I don't know. I was going to my connect group online, and we were like having community, and that was good to have that again. I also started doing like stuff on social media. Like I started being creative and like posting content, which was really fun, that I got to use that side of my brain. Like I was doing like makeup videos, but really creative. And I was like learning skills that I had never had or used before. Like I always loved makeup, but I was like doing really fun like makeup creative looks and stuff, and like making videos and editing videos, and I was like really tapping into that creative side of me. And then I decided to do a 21 day Daniel fast. And I think that was the best thing that I could ever do, because towards the end of like that fast, I never heard God speak to me so clearly in my life, and I still don't think I ever have. But I heard his audible voice, and he was like, I need you to give me a year. And he was like, I need you to give me a year in a church, and spend a year in a church. And I was so like confused. I was like, what does this even mean? Like, what am I doing? And then all the things around me, like I had seen somebody that I knew from a church before doing like an internship in a church, and I had asked her questions about that, but that one was like abroad. And then I had left it at that. I was like thinking about it, but didn't really like do anything. Then me and my connect group, when lockdown started to open up again, and we wanted to go to church. We found a church. We were all like in the same area of London.
Yeah.
And we found a church that was open that we could go to, that was close to us. And we started going to that church. And this is just so amazing because it's the way that God works. And we go there on that first day of that church, and I see a friend that I'd gone to school with at that church. And I hadn't seen her in years since we had like gone to school. She's Christian. I knew she was Christian, and we were like friends in school, but I'd never gone to church with her or anything. And we were just catching up and talking about life and like what we were doing. And I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. She was working for that church.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I felt like God has been like telling me that I need to like do an internship in a church or something like with worship. But I've just been trying to like see what that means because I don't really know anything about like where I would find that or whatever. And she was like, oh, we do an internship here. Yeah, we've done one here. You could see about it and stuff. Like I've done it before.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I started going to that church anyway because I really liked it.
Yeah.
And it was close by. I like joined the worship team, and I think this is what you're calling me to do, God. And I applied to do that internship that was there.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So then you got that internship.
Yeah.
Amazing. And what was that like?
Oh, it was so amazing, but also like challenging at the same time because even leading up to like the like doing of this internship, it was really testing because when God has got something so clear for you, the enemy will try and stop it. And there were so many ways where he was trying to stop. There were so many ways he was trying to stop me from doing that.
Did you feel like fully spiritually tied?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely even like into the relationship with like my mum, and like she was like, oh, what, like, because I literally didn't know anything about it. Like I knew a little bit, but I was like, you know what, I just feel like God's telling me to do this, and I have completely utter peace with it. And she was like, yeah, but what will it mean? We have a job after, are you gonna like, is it gonna be paid? Are you gonna be able to? So I was like, I don't know any of the answers to those questions, and I have peace with that, and I just know that God is telling me to do this, and that's what I need to do. And every single answer to the question that I would have thought or had, like he answered and opened the doors, that it was just, everything was provided.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But that's what's crazy, like you said, even like people that you don't expect then start asking questions. You know, like, what? Like, but I feel called here. And that's the thing, like, sometimes God calls us to crazy things. No one may understand. Yeah. But it's being in perseverance of that, isn't it? And knowing that God has told you something.
100%, yeah.
And we really thank God that you were able to get through, that he gave you the strength to get through the enemy's attacks, you know, and actually make it to the start line, you know? Yeah. Wow. So then you started the internship and obviously you said it was great, but also you're doing God's work. So it's also different, you know? Yeah,
it was really different for me, and I learned a lot, so much in that year that I was there, and like was kind of just chucked in at the deep end of like all the different things. Like I'd only led worship before in like my small church, and now I had to lead worship with a big band, and I had to like use all these technical things like tracks and in-ears and all these things that I'd never done before. And I was also learning how to pastor people at the same time. Like I was looking after a team under somebody else's like leadership, but I was going alongside them and learning how to do that. Wow. I was doing all these things that I had never seen before, because growing up in church, you went to church and there were people that were leadership, but working for a church was like a completely abnormal thing. Like it wasn't a thing that you could get paid to do and stuff. So I was just learning all these things, and I was like, I think God really elevated me, and he was like, I need you to do this and I need you to learn, because he knew where he was going to take me, but I was just learning so much. Wow. Yeah.
I feel like sometimes when he throws us in those deep ends, it can feel really like, I don't know if I can hold all of this. Was it feeling kind of like that?
Yeah, I was definitely like, oh God, I don't know like what you're doing. I don't know why. Like I feel under-equipped for all of this. Like I don't feel like I know, like, and that's another time where the enemy can get in your head and you can start to have those doubts, especially when you see people and you're on like a church which is like bigger, and you can see loads of people that are amazing and really gifted and really talented, and you can get in your head and you can have that imposter syndrome. Yeah. And it was just really having to focus on the reason what God had called me to do.
So is that what really got you through that? In terms of just like, eyes set on Jesus?
Yeah. Yeah, I set on him, and I was really loving what I was doing at the same time as well. Like I'd never been able to do some of the things that I was doing, and it was more than just leading worship. I was getting to be creative. I was getting to do all these other things, and it was just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And also it's amazing that like you left university and then like in due time he had this for you.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so beautiful when you hear what's waiting in after the suffering.
Yes.
What's that verse? And it's just like the suffering that you will endure today is nothing compared to what's coming. And it's literally that.
Yeah.
Like, because you would have never known in that moment when you were leaping out in faith to finally like remove yourself from that environment and all of those things, that this would be on the other side.
Yeah.
And it just really shows God, you know.
Yeah.
Wow. So then you do that for a year.
Yeah.
Amazing. So then after that year, what happened?
Well, coming up towards the end of that year, I was really like, okay, I'm one of those people that my personality type is like, I need to know the next steps ahead, which is really like, even in that whole thing, God was really like, he was just challenging me and I was following him because I didn't know anything until like the moment it happened. Wow. And I was one of those people that always had to know the next steps, and I need to prepare, I need to know these things.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
like to control. Right?
Yeah. I like to have a tight grip on everything. Yeah. And it was like towards the end of that year, I was like, okay, God, like I really feel called to this, and I really feel that you want me to do this, and I want to be in ministry full time. I want to lead worship. I want to pastor people. I really loved like pastoring like younger people and doing all that stuff. And so I was like, okay, how is this going to work? Like, I don't understand how I'm going to find a job to be able to still stay in London, work for a church and be able to do this. And so towards the end of that year, I was like asking questions, and it was just not seeming like it would be there that I could stay on and be like part of the team. But I was also connected to some other churches, and I was also like doing training at the same time. And I had this pastor, and they were like, oh, we can look into some things like here at the church that we're at, because there's like loads of shifts happening and stuff. And I was like, okay, great. And it literally happened that I did an interview. I led worship at something, and they were like, yeah, we'd love to have you on like team. And I got the job, and it literally started the day after I finished my internship. So I didn't even have a day where I didn't have anything to do. Wow. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Wow. He was like, wow. Because it's also like, you gave him the year. Yeah. And then you're also like, what's next? Yeah. And then as it's probably getting closer to the end, you're probably like, we're getting closer to the end. Yeah. Like, I don't really want to break. I just want to serve you. Yeah. And literally, like, even as close as it got, he was like, yeah, but you were always going to start the day after.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just incredible. And that whole thing has been incredible. Yeah.
So what was the transition like to then go into this new church? Yeah. And then working for the church? Yeah. What did all that look like?
Oh, it was like a major step. I had never, and I don't think I realized this until like during the first year. Yeah. But I had never started working for a church that I hadn't been to before. So I literally started working for a church, and that was going to be my church, because obviously I work Sundays, and so I was going to be there around Sundays. I can't go to church, and I'd always just found a church that I liked, and I'd been there, and I hadn't been to many churches before. Like, I'd grown up in church and then started to go to a church that I wanted to with my friend, and we were there for like 5 or 6 years, and only started going to that other church just before. So like, I hadn't gone around to loads of churches, and now I had to work here, didn't really know anybody, but I also had to be filled up here as well. Yeah. So it was a really, really hard transition. And I think it took me like the first year to still even a bit more to feel settled in. Yeah. To it feeling like my church at the same time as somewhere that I worked.
Yeah. For it actually to feel like home. Yeah. Yeah. I can't even imagine what that felt like, because it's not like you really like knew the church people or had a community there. Yeah. So what was even that like for you? Obviously that was then your church. So how did it transition, like, personally, like, outside of work? Yeah. In terms of, like, finding community and all of those things?
Yeah, it was really, really hard. There was definitely a lot of times that I felt alone and I felt isolated and I didn't feel like I had community, especially coming from such a place where I had such a strong community, and that really changed like my view of church. But yeah, I felt like I was coming to do a job, and that's what I did. And I loved God and I loved like leading worship, and I got to do that, but it didn't feel like I knew anybody really, or anybody really knew me.
I guess it didn't feel full in the same way. Yeah. Which must have been really hard, like you said, because it's also like probably felt conflicting, because it's like I love doing this thing and I love serving you and I love worshipping, but also like I'm like there's a part of it that still feels empty.
Yeah.
How did that look for the year then? Obviously it was slowly but surely.
Yeah.
But how, like practically, what did that look like?
So it looked like, which was really nice. Like I really love my team, and that was, I think that got me through a lot of it, like during the week, and like the staff team that I was a part of, and I started to build friendships slowly in the staff team.
Okay.
But then I felt like I wasn't part of a Connect group, hadn't joined a Connect group yet, which I also felt hard at the beginning, because it was like, oh, I'm there all day and now I have to be part of a Connect group, but I'm working for a church. And it feels like, which is like, your brain gets like, oh, I just constantly don't leave. Like Connect group feels like work, even though it's not work, and stuff like that. So I hadn't joined a Connect group. And then when I was working, also because I'm working on Sundays, I didn't consistently go. It's quite a big church and it had different locations in multiple services. I wasn't constantly at the same service and site.
Of course.
So it meant I was constantly everywhere, like every single Sunday, and I didn't have a consistent place that I always was. So it's harder to meet people, because you'll be here one week and then next week you'll be somewhere else.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, because you were across so many different churches and working. So it looks very different, doesn't it? Yeah, wow. So then how did that transition into actually like feeling settled and actually then having community and stuff? Because all of that still existed, right?
Yeah.
In terms of you're still moving, you're still at this place that is work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it started when I just started to really build really deep friendships with some girls on my team. And we just got really close, and I felt like I had really good friendships and relationships with them. And then I also had to like change stuff in my mind. So I joined a Connect group, and I was consistent in going to that, because I was like, I need some sort of consistency outside of what I do with work. And that's somewhere that I feel like I can receive some stuff. And I was really adamant as well about, when I started that Connect group, I was like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to help lead anything. I don't want to help. Like,
I need to come. Yeah. I need to be in attendance.
Yeah. I was just like, I just want to come and I just want to be involved. So I started going to a Connect group regularly, but even still so, I felt like I wasn't really meeting people outside of work. I was really clear that I wanted to, although I had those really good friendships on my like staff team of those girls, I really wanted to meet people and have community, deeper community with people that weren't on staff, that I didn't work with, that just went to church. And then I also was really strict on myself to, no matter where I was on Sunday, that I found a service that I really liked. I really loved the service pastor of that service. And I was like, I'm going to go to that service every week. So that meant sometimes I would do a service or 3 services. Luckily, it was the last service in the day that I really liked that service. And I would go after I had done a full day of everything, even if I missed a little bit at the top, because I had just finished doing another service. I went every single week consistently.
It was sacrifice.
Yeah.
You had to make sacrifice to then see the fruits of that.
Yeah.
Like you said, there was a lot of mind work there to have to be like, okay, this place is my work, but now I need to be plugged in like a different way. I'm plugged into the church, but this is work. You know, and it must be really hard to work in a church. Because also it's a place that we do go to get fed into. So then to be on the other side of that and actually work for the church must be it must be really hard. To be able to differentiate work and just being with God, you know?
I think that's the hardest thing that I've had to like figure out in this time that I've been like in ministry and stuff. Is like, okay, what is work? And what is my personal relationship with God? And just being able to, like, some things will cross over, some things you've got to keep separate, but you have to really know how to, like, put boundaries in and be really strict or be really intentional with stuff, because it's like, I need to know, and I need to still have my own time and then have my personal relationship, but also some things are work and that need to get done. So it's like, it's really tricky.
Well, yeah, I bet. And what was it like in terms of the job? What was that like for you? Obviously, you were loving the job.
Yeah.
But in terms of, you were obviously interning before.
Yeah.
Now, like, you are the leader of that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big step.
Yeah.
You know, what was that like for you?
Oh, I felt so underqualified. I remember just one time during my year, like my first year being there, I would be like, I was in the staff meeting and I literally was like crying. The person who was pastoring me saw me, but I just felt so like underqualified, and I was like, God, why am I here? Like, I've been doing this for a year, like as an intern, and it's still even not to this scale, and like now I have to pastor people, and I'm on team and doing this. Luckily it was like a team of us who were like worship pastors that worked there and stuff, and I wasn't like taking control of everything, but it just still felt really underqualified for me. I felt underqualified, and I didn't feel like I had it in me to do that, and it was really tough just trying to be able to be like, okay, no, you have this authority, you're good at what you do, you're qualified for this. Even like stuff like, I only started playing acoustic guitar. I'd always played keys, and I only started playing acoustic guitar towards the end of my internship, and then now I was like chucked on Sundays playing acoustic guitar, leading from acoustic guitar, and I was like, I've done this for like the last 3 months, and now I've got to do it like on a service, and I have to lead a team doing this, and things like that is where God has really just been like, I've given you a little bit of like time to like know what you're going to do, and I'm just going to like, this is what you're doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Qualifies the called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then also, like, because you're then in a pastoral, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Pastoral position. Obviously you were doing some like actual like preaching and ministry to people before, but like, what was it like then being in that position to then like mentor, I guess, people and really like
it was really difficult in the same way at the age I am, and then there'll be people on team that are older than me, and I'm feeling like, oh, am I equipped to be able to pastor this person? But I think you have to get over your like self about that as well, like being like age isn't a thing or things like that. But it was also like, I then was given like authority over like our vocal team, and I was doing auditions for people that wanted to join team, and I was basically deciding on those people that were doing like the vocal auditions with some other people, like who was going to get on team and not, and like I headed that up, and like doing the rotoring for those people and stuff like that, and I was just given all this like authority of things that I just didn't feel like I was qualified to do, to be able to like audition people and say whether they could like be on team or not.
Wow, it's a lot of responsibility. You felt the pressure of that. But then how did you like, I guess, deal with that like imposter syndrome?
I think it's even something that I'm still like trying to deal with, but it's just knowing that, I think when I always think about this, I think about I wouldn't be here if I didn't listen to God, and I didn't take the steps that he had laid out before me. And there's obviously a reason why all of these doors have just, I didn't have to strive for anything. I didn't have to like push or like try and manipulate or do anything. The doors just opened, and if God wants me here, I need to follow and listen to him, and I need to be here. And all of those things like imposter syndrome and thinking I'm not good enough, thinking I'm not qualified enough, those are the works of the enemy trying to not let God's kingdom come. So you just kind of have to, which is really hard, but you have to trust it, and you have to follow, and you have to just remind yourself again why you're here and what you're doing.
Just remember. Because that's the thing as well, I feel like the enemy also comes to attack our memory. And it's like we have to be constantly, daily reminding ourselves, like, God has woke me up with purpose, and he's put me in this place, and I'm meant to be here, you know. Wow, okay. So then your community started to get stronger, and yes, getting that community then and feeling like this church was then home, did it shift a lot for you?
Yeah, definitely. It felt like it wasn't just work, and it was a place that I could come to and feel like church and feel like home. And it's even those small things of like, sometimes I would get anxious about like, if I wanted to come to a service but I wasn't gonna know anybody, I was gonna walk into the room and feel like I didn't know anybody, but coming and feeling like I can come to the service and I can walk in and I can feel okay and I feel grounded, and I feel like I don't have to be anxious about whether I know anybody or if I'll see anybody or sitting alone in the back. And those sort of things are crazy when you think about that. I've been working at this church for like a year.
Yeah. I think when you then start feeling secure in like where God's put you and the community he's put you in, and then he starts to do that, it then nothing feels like challenging anymore. I don't think, like, nothing feels as scary. God's surrounded me with all of this, so it doesn't matter if I go into this room and don't make any friends, you know. So how long have you been working at that church then?
I think 2.5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll be 3 years in August.
Wow. And it's still just been amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I get to like hold amazing things like the vocal team, and I get to also do really fun stuff with like social media, which I also love, like creating content and stuff, and even stuff like that, being able to just do what I want and being given the ability to do that alongside all the stuff like leading worship is like amazing.
Let's talk about the social media. Obviously, because you're doing content, which is amazing. Talk about like what inspired that, like where did all that come from?
So it started again in lockdown when I started doing those videos. But I was really consistent for a while during like lockdown and a bit after it, but when I started doing this internship, I kind of like wasn't so consistent in it, and I was more focused on doing like the leading and stuff and learning all the ministry stuff. And but I think it was like towards the end of last year, maybe the mid of last year, that I really felt God speaking to me about like my social media stuff and like my fashion stuff, that it was more than just like a thing that I love to do. And I started making videos again, but like outfit videos and like what I would wear as somebody who like works in ministry and needs worship. But I also really got convicted, but also like love in a way that I love, of like buying Christian clothing that gonna like evangelize to people. I'm also one of those people that I'm not like a natural evangelist. I wouldn't say that's one of my ones, but where I'm gonna go on the street and tell people about Jesus. But I love fashion and I love like cool clothing, and I'd really gotten into like clothing that was like Christian brands that were gonna really tell people about Jesus. And I started really wearing like loads of Christian brands and supporting Christian brands. And even through stuff like that, I would be posting on social media and posting outfit videos as like a Christian girl who loves fashion and is evangelizing through outfits that she wears. And I've been like consistently posting on social media again with that, with like outfit stuff.
What's that been like, and like God moving through that?
Again, like I can see how God is moving through my act of saying yes to that. And like I think a lot of it was fear of man, why I wasn't doing it, and like caring about what people think and caring about like looking like and fitting in this box. But like if we don't step outside of what is the norm or what it looks like we're just going to look like everybody else, and we're just going to be doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. But we're called to be so much more, and we're called to be different. We're all different and created individually. So I had to like, which was really hard, but like forget about what people are going to think if I'm posting videos and I'm not like an established content creator. But I feel God has told me to do this, and that's what I'm going to do.
In the same way when you were doing the internship. You know? And I think it's so like important for people to like see in terms of like worship, like a worship leader, someone that's in the church that can still be like fashionable and like modest. And it is so important because especially in a time where it's like, I mean, I feel like Christianity is becoming more and more cool. I think we're really cool, but the world might not think you though.
Yeah.
But it's just so important to be like, no, like we are cool. Like it is cool.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't have to be like this boring thing.
Yeah.
Like you can still express yourself.
Exactly.
And be in the church, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important.
Yeah, which is what I 100% agree with. Like we don't have to lose our personality when we become Christian, and we don't have to all act the same way or think the same way. Well, we're thinking the same way of like thinking like Jesus, but not in the sense of like you can be creative, I could not be creative, or like vice versa. So, and I'm really, really like so passionate about like this younger generation, and especially like social media. I think a lot of people think it's a bit pointless, but I think it's such a great way of evangelizing again. And people that would never hear about Jesus, maybe they would scroll and see an outfit video and think, oh, this girl is wearing a cool outfit, but oh wait, that's also like says Jesus on her top. What does that like mean? And stuff like that. And also with the modesty thing and worship leading as women and stuff, and we get in our heads about it looking a certain way when modesty doesn't look one particular way. And it's also a whole lot more than clothing and what we put on our body, but that's one thing and one avenue that we take it down, especially with like how women dress.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think it's so important to be like talking about that, you know, because like you said, people think it's one way, and it's like it's so much more than what you think. We're in a time now where social media is kind of at the forefront, you know, and whether people want to embrace it or not, it's happening. So we thank God that he's called you there to be able to like infiltrate literally these places with Jesus. So then what's life looking like right now?
Life is looking like focusing on working for a church and ministry. Like I really love that. I really like, can't believe that I get to do that every single day, and that's my full-time job, that I get to be in ministry and I get to lead worship every single week. I get to be involved in like so many things that I would never be able to be involved in. Like I get to pastor people and like pastor our team and even like young people and raise up like young worship leaders and stuff like that, and I love that. But I also am being really consistent and listening to God when he's calling me into a space of social media and like with like creating content. And I also love creating content, not even the fact of like putting the outfits together, and like I love fashion, but I also love editing videos, and I love looking at cool little things and like how to do this and like editing the videos to look cool and be a certain way. And I just think just really using all those gifts that God has given me as a creative person and using literally every aspect of that to just honor him and tell people about him.
Beautiful. Wow. Amazing. Honestly, I think your life has really showed like what stepping out in faith can do. And I think it's just such a testament of when we meet God, what he can do in our life, as scary as it can be, but there is so much hope on the other side, and so much goodness on the other side, because you probably never would have thought this is what you'd be doing now.
Oh,
you know,
never.
And it's just so beautiful to hear how God can beautifully blindside us, you know, in the best way possible. Is there any encouragement or anything we've missed that you want to speak on?
I think I would just encourage people to really let go of people pleasing and fear of man, and I think that's such a big stronghold that the devil puts like on for us, and like to try and stop the goodness that God has got for our lives. Caring about what other people think, we should only care about what God thinks and what he thinks about us. And if he's told us to do something, to do it, because you can never imagine what is on the other side of that yes to God. Amazing. And could you pray us out? Of course. Father, we just thank you so much for your goodness. We thank you so much that you have set out the plan for our lives before we were even a thought. Lord, we pray that in the quiet moments when we don't even know what the plan is, what's going on, Lord, that you would just make yourself so visible, so audible to us, Lord, that we would hear you, we would know you than we could ever ask or imagine, Lord. Lord, that we would follow the promise that you have given us, Lord, and that we would know that your goodness is going to follow us all the days of our lives, Lord. I pray for anyone who is living in fear, in anxiety, in depression, in those places of isolation, Lord, that you would build community around them. Lord, you would bring the people into their lives that are going to uplift them, that are going to encourage them, and that are going to motivate them to step out in the calling that you have in their life. Lord, I pray that you would make those people so visible to anybody who's struggling to find community. Lord, we pray that our lives can just be honoring to you. Lord, we can want to please you more than we want to please anybody else, even ourselves, Lord, that we just want to please you and do whatever it is that we can build your kingdom. In Jesus' name, amen.
In Jesus' name, amen. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been so fun to chat.